trial. So y'all know that the Diddy trial has started today, and they started with the jury selection. And already this morning, what I'm hearing is that they already named three celebrities, one being Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, and Kanye West was named in the courtroom already today. So, according to the judge, there is a list, several pages, and there's a list of celebrities, and they will be given though that list to the selected jurors or the jurors that will be interviewed before they come before the judge, and he interviewed them to see if they'll be a good fit for this trial. So three celebrities have been named already. Okay, so again, that don't mean that they did anything wrong. We don't know what that list mean or what the people on the list did or have anything to do with this case just yet. So I'm sure everybody is gonna jump to conclusions because we all want to know, what are you doing on a list and what is this list about? Because we know that there's co-conspirators that flipped the script and now they want to testify against Diddy, which I think is foul, because if you was there, you should be held accountable, in my opinion, if you seen something. However, there is an article that came out. As a matter of fact, it's several articles that came out since this morning about the trial and what's going on inside the courtroom, because you guys know that it's not being televised. They are saying that the outside the courthouse is chaos, and there's people lined up that's been lined up since yesterday holding spots, and also charging people to hold spots for them. I guess they trying to get inside the courtroom. I don't know how that's gonna work, because I'm sure the courtroom is already fully packed. But yeah, they said that it's a long line of people waiting outside the courthouse trying to get in, and that they're charging people to hold spots in line. It was people that's been out there and camped out overnight for this. So I wanted to show you guys a quick picture of that. Somebody got a little tent thing going on. I don't know why they will be lined up out there, baby. You better read the articles or something, honey, because I wouldn't be outside the courthouse, but that's just me. Yeah, but people are lined up outside trying to get inside to see what's going on. But I'm going to talk to you guys about what happened or what's going on inside the courtroom right now. There's an article with the Daily Mail, and there's, like I said, several articles all online. Y'all know it's all over the place, so you guys can check it out if you want to. But I'm gonna start with this article. It's pretty long, and I'm gonna try to skip over some of those words. Y'all know it's a lot of explicit words in this case, so I'm gonna do my best to try to skip over them or exchange them for something else a little bit more PG-13. Okay, so let me get started. It says, Diddy strutted into the courtroom on day one of trial before his composure slipped and he made a telling admission. Composed with his hands in his pockets, Sean Diddy Combs greeted potential jurors who hold his fate in their hands with a slight nod as the ex-trafficking trial that could send him to prison for life began Monday. The embattled music mogul appeared in court wearing gray slacks, a navy crewneck sweater layered over a crisp white shirt, and black rimmed glasses. His prison garb was notably absent, as Judge Arun Subramanian had given him permission to wear civilian clothing during the trial. His shoes weren't visible, but they are without laces per the judge's order. The most striking change in his appearance was the absence of the unruly white hair he had grown during his time at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. Now his hair is cut neatly and his white beard remained. And despite the gravity of the crimes against him, Combs, 55, remained composed and calm, hugging his lawyers as he came in and nodding his head slightly when he faced the jurors with his hands in his pockets, until he cracked midway through the process after the Diddy's legal team requested a bathroom break. When the judge asked if they could carry on, Diddy put up his hand and said, "I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous today." I'm sure you are a little nervous, because they got like they saying that it's like 150 people that they are going to interview for these jury spots. So yeah, they got a long way to go, and it's supposed to go. They're expecting it to be 3 days, but they got to the end of the week. So yeah. Let me keep going because this is a pretty lengthy article. So bear with me. It says outside the Southern District of New York Federal Court, crowds gathered in anticipation of the trial's opening following months of pre-trial motions and a denied request for a delay from Diddy's legal team. Diddy faces 5 serious federal charges. I'm not going to read them out loud because y'all know the words, but I'm sure everybody is aware of what he's being charged with by now, honey. So, yeah. If convicted, the one-time rap producer and global superstar, who is often credited for his role in ushering hip-hop into the mainstream, could spend the rest of his life in prison. Hundreds of prospective jurors have already filled out questionnaires designed to elicit any bias they may have about the case. None of the first group, consisting of more than 50 jurors, reacted when told that Diddy would be the defendant, because they already knew who it was going to be, I'm sure. They were led into court, and as they did so, Diddy turned to face them and eyeballed them slowly. Okay? None of them appeared to recognize him, and they didn't react when the judge explained the charges and read out a number of Diddy's names. There was no reaction when the judge said that among the questions the jury would have to answer was rather hearing evidence about SA, including the R word, hiring ex-workers and having multiple actual partners, would make them unable to serve. The jurors were escorted out of the room, and then the first was brought back in for individual questioning. The first 2 celebrities to be named at Diddy's trial were Mike Myers and Michael B. Jordan. Their names were read out to a potential juror from a list of people and places that may come up throughout the trial. The juror, a man who works as a licensed massage therapist, said he only knew the 2 through their acting. Kanye West's name also dragged into the case when a potential juror said they recognized his name from the list. So they already seen the list. Man. They say the man, a scientist in his 40s, said that nothing he knew about West would affect his ability to be impartial. Other names mentioned on the list by a female juror who said she recognized them were Michelle Williams from Destiny Child, actress Lauren London, who was the girlfriend of Nipsey Hussle, who was fatally, y'all know, in 2019, and rapper Kid Cudi. Judge Submaranian said that the list of people and places runs several pages and felt like an appendix from The Lord of the Rings. Whoa. The comment alluded to the scale of the case, which dates back to 2004 and covers multiple states. Y'all, this is going to get intense. This is going to be really intense because they're, from what they're insinuating, we still don't know what's going on. But he said there is a long list and several pages of a list of names. So no telling how this trial is gonna go. People are predicting that it's only gonna be a few weeks long, but I believe it's gonna be longer than that. Some is saying up to 8 weeks, and it might even go past that if it's as bad as it sound. So no telling. Okay, it says to speed up the jury selection process, Submaranian, I know I'm saying his name wrong, Subramanian ruled that jurors will be given the list to review before they are brought into court and questioned one by one as he attempts to see a final panel of 12 jurors and 6 alternatives. All of the jurors interviewed today by Judge Subramanian were anonymous and only referred to by their juror number. A young white woman in her 20s was excused by the judge after saying that hearing about SA would make her not comfortable. Another woman aged in her 30s was excused after writing in her questionnaire that the video of Diddy allegedly beating up his ex-girlfriend Cassie in 2016, which was aired by CNN, could be damning evidence. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilio, told the court that the statement was definite and most important piece of evidence in this case. The judge excused the woman over the objections of prosecutor Maureen Comey, who said they wouldn't be using the video. I thought they was going to use the video. Okay, a female juror in her 60s was allowed to stay in the prospective jury pool despite admitting that she was kissed and fondled for around 2 years when she was a youngin by a dentist while working at his office. The woman said that the gross inappropriate behavior happens all day long, all over the world, but insisted she could be impartial. Probably not. I'm not even trying to be funny, but you would think if somebody is a victim of something like that, that it would affect their decision in a case because more than likely they will be biased. But from what they're saying, she was allowed to stay. But it's still not over with because once they narrow down a certain amount of jurors that could possibly, be selected, then that's when the defense and the prosecutors will come to an agreement on the jurors that will be selected. They will handpick them out of the ones that they narrow down. Another female juror in her 20s was allowed to stay in the pool after she said that she had liked a post online from a comedian who joked about baby oil being found during the raids on Diddy's homes. It was funny, the woman said. Among the other potential jurors was a woman in her 40s who works for HBO who said that she and her sister were both, when they was youngins by a family member. She said she had seen the CNN video and found it disturbing and upsetting, but said she could be impartial. Diddy's lawyers tried to object to the woman on the basis that HBO recently released the negative documentary, The Fall of Diddy, but the judge overruled them and allowed her to continue in the process. Whoa. Another potential juror who was not excused was a white woman in her 40s who said she was SA'd by a neighbor in the mid-90s. But she said that just because someone did acts like that didn't make them a horrible human in all respects. Yeah, I mean, I ain't trying to, help him out. I can't help him out anyway. But I'm just saying, like, it should be fair and it should get people that don't have, I do agree with that, get people that don't have any connection to any type of SA or have never been a victim. They definitely should have people that don't have a history, okay? Or any type of connection or feelings from the past or anything like that. So her saying that she would not be biased or impartial, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. So I do recommend them to make sure that they pick carefully and get people who don't have a history or any type of connection with something like that. Because we don't want any issues with this trial, any mistrials or people saying there was mistreatment or anything. Everything should be 100% fair. So I feel like they need to do everything right the first time. Okay? Let me keep going where I was at. As Diddy walked out of the court for lunch, he quietly beat his fist on his chest to a friend in the public gallery. By noon, 4 jurors had been allowed to continue through the process and 3 had been excused. So far, Combs' defense lawyers and prosecutors with the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office agreed on about 150 who will proceed to in-person questioning by the judge, also known as voir dire. Okay? Subramanian said in a May 1 pretrial hearing where Diddy turned down a final plea deal that the goal will be to choose 45 potential jurors who are qualified to serve, and lawyers for both sides will then have the opportunity to dismiss jurors without stating a reason, known as a preemptory strike. The panel will be anonymous, which is frequently the case in high-profile trials in which jurors could face threats or harassment if their identities are known. Now, what I really believe, and I talked about this not too long ago, they should really have protected these jurors and isolated them during the trial period. Not even let them go home. That is definitely possible. It's something that, courts have done in the past with high-profile cases. And because this case is such a high-profile case, they definitely should have been isolated, even away from their family and everybody, for however long the case is going to last, the trial. So 3 weeks, 8 weeks, however long. Because at some point, These people, I'm sure, are being seen going in and out of the court. Somewhere, I believe it's in this article, and I haven't gotten to it yet. But I remember hearing somebody say that today there was people going inside the court that viewers or spectators was believing was potential jurors. So it's not gonna take long to figure out who are the jurors and who not. If you at the courthouse for every court date or hearing, and you're watching the same people come in and out, coming out for breaks, lunch, and things like that, eventually you will put two and two together if they coming out the front door. I would imagine that they got the jurors going out of a different door. I'm sure that's probably what's going on. Okay? But I'm just saying, eventually it could get out. And because of the fact they didn't give him a bond, they didn't let him bond out, because they was afraid of what he may do to witnesses and things like that. Why would you not protect the jurors? Since y'all so afraid that he's going to do something, you would think that the jurors would be protected too. I'm just saying. That's just my opinion. Let me keep going. Opening statements are set to begin May 12th. The disgraced rapper's reported defense strategy will revolve around his mental capacity to commit the crimes, as his representatives are arguing that he was not of clear mind, according to court documents. They really need to stop. They argument now, I feel like they're at their wits' end, and that's probably the strongest argument they could come up with. I don't know how that's going to play out in court. And I heard about this when they first tried to, use this as a defense. This was what? Week before last when they tried to pull that, okay? I didn't get a chance to talk about it up here, but I heard about it, and I'm just like, oh my God, now you stooping as low as low. But I guess he doing everything he can. It's a good try, though. We'll see how it go. Okay, let me see. The court heard today that Diddy's lawyers will be allowed to call a psychiatrist who will testify about the effects of multiple drugs, including prescription drugs, on a normal person. Previous court filings have said that Dr. Eli Ahone will talk about Diddy's diminished capacity to commit the crimes because of his drug intake. And in court, the judge said he would permit testimony from Ahone on the expected effects of various drugs a person may experience during blackouts and other intoxicated episodes, and the predictable result of certain drug combinations. But the doctor will not be allowed to talk about what Diddy himself experienced, as she didn't examine him, the judge ruled. The details of his alleged condition have been redacted in the documents, but there are a few clues of what it could be. Federal prosecutors do not believe it is relevant. They're going to argue that. According to the documents, prosecutors have stated that legal precedent requires the defense to give proper notice before offering any evidence of the effects of drugs and alcohol on a defendant's memory or cognitive function. You know what? As bad as things is right now, it might not be a bad idea that he's trying to run with this. This probably, was the best idea they came up with. I don't know. Again, I don't know how it's gonna work, and I still don't even think that will get him off. But yeah, like, he using this for argument. They already said that it was a lot of drugs being used. What about the young boy? Well, I forgot his name. The one that they arrested when they arrested Diddy. They caught him too and let him out right before Christmas, which I'm sure is a witness now in this trial, because they let him go after he admitted to all the drugs that he provided. So they can't deny that it was being used, because they even using that as far as what they said. Their argument, they using drugs as a part of their argument, so they can't deny that it was in use. And then how are they going to argue about the effects that it probably had on him and his mental state? I don't know how that's going to work. Another clue would be that prosecutors are describing the doctor's potential testimony as evidence of the defendant's inability to control behavior. Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter, who is the mother of his 4 children, including his adopted son, Quincy Brown, King Combs, and twins Jesse and Delilah, will come up frequently during his trial, one of his lawyers told the court. Lawyer Tini Geragos said that they expect there to be discussions about Kim Porter frequently during a debate about a female juror who is a chief marketing officer at book publisher Simon & Schuster. Hope I said that right, okay? The woman said she had read a press release about a book out in the fall by Albie Shore, who is Porter's ex-boyfriend. She claimed she would not read the book, but the judge excused her. But prosecutors Maureen Comey disputed this and said, I don't think we will hear much about Porter. However, the bombshell claim suggests it will be part of Diddy's defense. Yeah, the prosecutors, it seemed like they're trying to keep on everybody who have a history or a connection as a victim or something. They want to keep them. They want to keep them. And everything in this video is alleged, okay? In a letter filed Tuesday, Diddy's attorney said despite their prior request for a gag order, several attorneys who represent the alleged victims and witnesses continue to muddy the jury pool with negative publicity towards their client. His team specifically named Douglas Wigdor, who represents the rapper's ex-girlfriend Cassie, for speaking to the media. Absent a court order, we expect the publicity to not only continue but escalate as trial commences, they wrote in the letter to U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian. Indeed, in recent weeks, lawyers for government witnesses have commented on pretrial litigation and continue to broadcast prejudicial statements. He should have put a gag order on all of them. For real, because watch, I ain't gonna even say nothing. We'll see. We'll see. They pointed to Wigdor's comments concerning the rapper's request to keep the surveillance video of the rappers pulling and dragging Ventura by the hair inside a Los Angeles hotel hallway in 2016 as she tried to escape. During the trial on Monday, in what appears to be a win for Diddy, prosecutors Maureen Comey said they won't be offering the CNN video of Diddy beating up Ventura. Diddy's victims have claimed that he used to use an entire bottle of baby oil in just 5 minutes with one woman called Nicole, telling Rolling Stone that after being given 2 pills that made her black out, she woke up several hours later in a room surrounded by empty bottles of baby oil, towels, and wine bottles. Crazy. Other evidence which could come up at trial is a diary kept by a former employee of Diddy, along with texts between him and a number of his victims. Prosecutors revealed that their main witnesses have considerably baggage, which Diddy lawyers are likely to use to try to discredit them. I wonder who they're talking about. I wonder who they talking about. I think I know which one they talking about. But I ain't gonna even go there. Let me keep going. Some of them have DUIs, have used illegal drugs, committed acts, illegal ones, tax offenses, and one even has a felony. Prosecutors said Diddy's side should be barred from asking about them all as they are not relevant. Nor should his lawyers be allowed to ask about prior DV incidents, they say. Well, y'all gonna ask about some prior stuff, so why can't they ask about prior stuff? I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to take up at all. Period. I'm just saying, like, they want it to be one-sided. And I want to see the trial go fair and square so it don't be any issues in the end, no mistrials, no nothing. And the only way for that to happen is for them to be fair all the way around the board. Nor should his lawyers be allowed to ask about, okay, I already said that. Some of the law enforcement officers who could testify have prior misconduct cases against them. Another line of attack for Diddy. Oh, honey, they gonna run that down. They gonna run it down. How you a law enforcement officer and you got prior incidents of misconduct, things that you done? They gonna drag them. Another court document refers to a youngin. I can't say the word youngin victim. A sign that they may either testify or be referred to during the trial. Allegations of, you know what? Physical, a word, abuse, to a youngin amongst the most serious he faces. I'm trying to skip these words, y'all, but y'all get it. Prosecutors are seeking to allow 3 of the 4 main accusers to testify anonymously, but Diddy's lawyers are strongly objecting to that. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in the courtroom so far. Is day 1 of the Diddy trial. And yeah, it's really not looking good. But Diddy, he really tries. His lawyers are trying. Now, what I can't wait to see is that list, because everybody been so quiet, and it's just so weird. And I don't care if these celebrities or celebs come up as witnesses. To me, stop it. You're guilty. And I know that's being biased, or no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not being biased. This is a serious case. And I've been trying to stay in the middle, but on this case, it's really hard to do that. I think I have a hard time doing that in most of the stories that I talk about. But in this, look, with all the stuff that he being blamed for, he didn't do all that by himself. One thing about Diddy, and I'm sure we all can agree, that over the years of just seeing videos of him and just clips and, the things that we see, he loves to keep a crowd around him. You barely seen him by himself. He always kept a crowd of other celebrities and people around him. So you can't sit here and tell me that you're a witness. Now, that's the part that I don't like. I feel that is so unfair. Put them up there. They need to be questioned too. They need to get charges too. Because if they can be a witness and say what happened, then why you didn't stop it if you seen it happen? I don't want to hear about what you seen. If you seen it, what did you do? Because you can't sit here and tell me you were scared of him. Because in the same token, if you're a celebrity, what you got to be scared of him for? You got money just like him. But I ain't going to talk too fast. Because right now, everything is speculation. Nobody know how this is going to go. They have been very hush, and some of the most vital pieces of information they giving out is still not the full story. It's still pieces, and so we only left with speculation of what it means. So I'm sure we'll get more insight into the story and what's going on with this case. And yeah, it's going day by day. So for now, that's all I have for you guys. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. It seemed like they got a long week ahead of them. They only went through a small handful of jurors, and they have 150 in total to go through. And from what this article was said, they only went through 7 at the time this article was posted. So yeah, it seemed like they were taking their time and really combing through every person, how they feel, their history, background, and things like that. And it seemed like one of the most crucial parts of picking these jurors is finding out if they know these celebrities that's on this list and how they feel about them. For some reason, that is a very important point in this jury selection process. Which leads me to believe that we're going to hear some things that's going to make even the jurors look at the people that's testified sideways. Because why are y'all putting emphasis and putting so much weight on them knowing these people on the list? If they are there to testify and they are a witness, why is that so important? Why is it so important to know how the jurors feel about them? That's because I feel like it's going to be some more things that come out. I don't want to say too soon. Like I said, everything is speculation. For now, I'm just going to leave it as that until some more news come out, because there's so many reports going on Twitter, everywhere, okay? all over YouTube. It's so many things coming out, articles all online. Everybody is posting about this. So when I get more information, I definitely will be back. Tell me what y'all think about what I just told y'all in this video. In the comments, let me know. And until next time, I'm out. Bye, y'all.